Start with a short reaction summarizing the shocking content in a streamer-style voice. You're not ready for this one. ICE just got slapped with a legal war they never saw coming. It starts like a scene out of a bad dream. The body cams switch on, ICE agents swarm the street outside a downtown courthouse, blending in with federal uniforms and silent radios. They're not looking for criminals, they're looking for courtgoers. Immigrants. Many of them undocumented, but not all. Some are witnesses, others victims of abuse, and a few just came to resolve civil issues. By sundown, several are in unmarked vans. Word gets out, cell phone footage leaks. LA County leaders don't just express outrage, they file a lawsuit against the Trump administration's ICE tactics. Yes, a full-on legal showdown, city versus federal enforcement. This wasn't supposed to happen. This is the moment where local government stops being a bystander. This time, they're challenging the legality of what they call unconstitutional policing tactics. They argue ICE is weaponizing the court system, turning places of justice into traps. According to official filings, the agents operated without warrants, used intimidation, and even posed as local law enforcement. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I want to see where you're watching from. And let's go on the journey of today's news together. Let's be clear, this isn't a minor political disagreement. LA County's legal challenge touches a national nerve. Immigrants' rights groups like the ACLU and National Immigration Law Center call this a constitutional emergency. Conservative think tanks call it grandstanding. The truth? It's a lot messier. And what's more terrifying is how normal this chaos has become. ICE says they're doing their job. Critics say they're erasing due process one courthouse at a time. You walk into the lobby of the LA County Courthouse, at least in your imagination, and the tension is almost physical. That's where ICE agents began operating under a directive that immigration attorneys say has been quietly expanding for years. According to LA County's lawsuit, filed just weeks ago, the Department of Homeland Security authorized aggressive courthouse surveillance and arrests without warning local authorities. The lawsuit didn't come from nowhere. It followed a spike in detentions at places previously considered sensitive locations, including schools, churches, and courthouses. At the heart of the complaint? The story of Ana Rodriguez. She was accompanying her sister, a domestic violence survivor, to court. Ana wasn't even scheduled for a hearing. But within minutes of arriving, she was surrounded by plainclothes ICE agents, detained and removed from the building. Her sister left the courtroom in tears. This, according to court documents reviewed from The Guardian, is just one of dozens of such incidents now catalogued as part of the LA County legal claim. The county argues that these tactics are not only unethical, they're illegal. The lawsuit states that ICE is bypassing basic due process by targeting people who are entitled to legal protection, sometimes even violating local sanctuary laws. That's a key legal pressure point. While federal agencies can enforce immigration law, they're not supposed to interfere with local jurisdictions that have declared sanctuary status. And ICE, their response has been chillingly clinical. We go where the targets are. According to ICE spokesperson Matthew Bork, courthouses are safe and controlled environments, ideal for apprehending suspects. But what if the very concept of safe has now been flipped? If a courthouse becomes a hunting ground, what does that say about the rule of law? Let's break down the ICE footage. Yes, that leaked cell phone video that shook everyone. You hit play and you're instantly there, the sterile echo of a courthouse hallway, the confused glance of a clerk, and then the moment it all flips, 3 ICE agents step into frame, surround a young man near the security checkpoint, and within seconds, he's in handcuffs. No warning, no explanation. A woman recording says, "He just came to pay a traffic fine." You pause. That's the first shock. He wasn't there for a criminal charge. He was there voluntarily to resolve a civic obligation, and still he's treated like a fugitive. You rewind it and look again. There's no badge flash, no Miranda rights, no mention of a warrant. You move to the next clip. A different case, different location, same script. This time it's a mother with 2 children speaking in Spanish. She's waiting for a custody hearing. ICE agents step in, speak to her in English, and within 20 seconds, she's separated from her kids. A bystander yells, "She has a lawyer!" ICE doesn't blink. Pause again. This isn't law enforcement, it's extraction. And then comes the third segment. This one's from outside, a courthouse loading dock at dusk. A small group of agents flank the exit. They've got clipboards, they're looking at photos. This isn't random, it's targeted. A man exits the building and without a word they move in. He resists, they pin him to the ground, people scream. One voice rises, "Is this even legal?" That's the question echoing through every scene. These videos were not meant for YouTube virality, but they became it. They've now been cited in official testimony supporting the lawsuit. LA County's claim isn't just legal, it's visual, it's a pattern. And the pattern shows us one thing: ICE is operating with unchecked authority in places that were once considered immune. Let's take a deeper look at this aspect. Now let's rewind, not just to last year or the year before, but back to 2003, when ICE was formed under the post-9/11 umbrella of the Department of Homeland Security. The agency wasn't created out of a vacuum, it was born from fear. Fear of infiltration, fear of lawlessness, fear that the systems we trusted weren't strong enough. But like many systems built on fear, ICE has grown beyond its original mission. Remember this, ICE was never intended to be a courthouse patrol unit. It was meant to enforce federal immigration laws by targeting threats to national security. Over time, that definition has expanded. By 2010, ICE was pursuing people with misdemeanor traffic violations. By 2018, they were showing up at hospitals and schools. And now, according to LA County's legal filing, they're in our courtrooms targeting people seeking justice. Why? Because power unchallenged becomes power assumed. The lawsuit LA County just filed isn't about one incident, it's about that creep. That steady encroachment of federal force into civic spaces. That's why the ACLU is calling it a test case for constitutional boundaries. And it's not just them. The Marshall Project reports that since 2020, ICE courthouse arrests have risen by nearly 300%, despite internal memos claiming de-escalation. That's a policy contradiction. And it matters. Now factor in California's sanctuary laws like SB 54, which explicitly limit local cooperation with ICE. These laws were meant to build trust between immigrants and law enforcement. But ICE found a loophole, federal supremacy. They argue that they can operate wherever they choose. LA County argues that civil rights don't disappear at the courthouse door. So who's right? The Constitution says nothing about ICE, but it says plenty about due process, equal protection and states' rights. And right now, that Constitution is being pulled in 2 directions, one by fear, one by law. To understand better, let's look at the context. Source: Policy Context, derived from Migration Policy Institute and the Marshall Project, reports on ICE enforcement evolution. When the lawsuit dropped, the internet didn't just react, it detonated. On X, formerly Twitter, the hashtag courthouse raids trended for nearly 24 hours with over 2 million impressions. And the comments? A masterclass in collective rage, confusion, and polarized logic. Let's look at this one. So now even showing up to court gets you detained? That's not immigration enforcement, that's entrapment. This post, shared by Know Your Rights LA, gathered over 60,000 retweets. It's the fear talking, but also the truth. You think about the guy who got grabbed while trying to pay a traffic fine. He wasn't hiding. He was participating, and that participation was punished. Another post from a retired judge at Justice for LA. I spent 30 years telling people the courtroom was sacred. What do I tell them now? That one hits you. You imagine being that judge watching federal agents pull someone from the hallway before their case is even heard. Due process or due panic? Reddit's r/immigration board lights up too. One post reads, "My cousin stopped going to court after she saw a guy get dragged away in front of her. ICE didn't even show ID." The thread becomes a fear log. Stories of skipped hearings, vanished neighbors, lost custody battles. Not because people were guilty, but because they were terrified. But not all voices are on the same page. A comment from a conservative user on X reads, "ICE has the right to go where the lawbreakers are. Don't like it? Get legal." That one stings, but it also simplifies the issue because many of the people being detained aren't fugitives, they're asylum seekers, DACA recipients, or visa overstays in legal limbo. And then there's the quiet power of this one. Thank you, LA County, finally someone's fighting back. What do you think about this development? Now you sit with all of it, the lawsuit, the video evidence, the personal stories, the constitutional knots, and you ask, what does this all actually mean? LA County suing the federal government isn't just legal theatre, it's a moral declaration. It's one part protest, one part precedent, and a full-throated response to a government action that many now see as overreach. They're drawing a line, not just for their own residents, but for every city, every courthouse, every immigrant who dares to show up and be counted. Think about that. The mere act of showing up, not hiding, not resisting, but just showing up to participate in the legal process, has become a risk. And that's not just a policy failure. That's a cultural one. It says the system you're supposed to trust might betray you. But this isn't just about immigrants. This is about all of us. Because when the rules stop being consistent and the locations we consider safe, like schools, hospitals, courthouses, become zones of surveillance and detention, it creates a chilling effect. People stop seeking help, stop testifying, stop cooperating, and justice becomes a game of shadows. So what now? The case will crawl through the courts. ICE will continue its operations and LA County will argue its constitutional logic. But the real fight will unfold in quieter ways, in your neighborhood, your community center, your courthouse hallway. The truth is, you don't have to agree with everything LA County is doing to understand why they're doing it. This isn't just a legal matter, it's a societal checkpoint, a test of whether the rule of law includes everyone or just those who fit a temporary political definition of deserving. So here's your part. Watch this case, share this video, post your thoughts, start a conversation with someone who doesn't agree with you, because this is not just news. This is a social dialogue. Is this a sign of a new trend? Now let your breath slow. This is where we pause, not just in speech, but in spirit. We've walked through courthouse raids and lawsuits, dissected injustice dressed as legality, and faced the uncomfortable truth that the places meant to shelter us can sometimes turn against us. But you stayed, you listened, you thought. And that matters. The country you live in is made not just of laws and borders, but of stories like Aina's, of choices like LA County's, and of voices like yours. You might feel small inside this system, but remember, systems are made of people, and people change course when enough of them start speaking, start caring. Tonight, when you close your eyes, let this stay with you, not as a burden, but as a reminder. That justice isn't just decided in court, it's decided in moments like this, where you choose to care, to engage, and to keep asking hard questions. So wherever you are, whatever your local time is, thank you for watching, for thinking, for being present in the noise. Until next time, keep your mind sharp and your heart open.